Good afternoon, fourth grade. Today we are going to read an article about Chinese dragons and their significance in Chinese culture because we have a new character in our novel, Dragon. First, let's get ready to fill in the blank. Min Li left a note for her parents and then ran away from home to search for Never-Ending Mountain. She wants to ask the old man of the moon to change her family's fortune. She took several things with her on her journey. When Min Li's parents got home and found she was gone, they were devastated. Ma and Ba decided to go search for Min Li. Today we want to know what role do dragons play in Chinese culture, and we're going to compare Min Li and Dragon. How are they different and how are they similar? Let's preview our vocabulary and make sure you are drawing a line from the word to the picture to get full credit. Our first word is legendary. That is it describes someone who's famous or well known. So we would draw a line to Martin Luther King Jr. because he is legendary. The second word is depict, and that's when you try to describe or explain something using words or pictures. So the artist, this woman is looking at an artist depict a young woman. And the third word is imperial. And that is relating to an empire. And so this is the Chinese emperor. He is part of the imperial part of China. Turn the page and let's get ready to read. The title of our article is Chinese Dragons. And so I know that this is a non-fiction article because it's giving me information about dragons in Chinese culture. So I'm going to ask a how or why question about my title, and that answer is going to help me find the main idea. So that I turned this title into a why question, and in 1A I would write down, why are dragons important in Chinese culture? Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready to read. I'm at Chinese dragons. Chinese dragons are legendary creatures in Chinese mythology and Chinese folklore. I would underline that sentence because it tells me they're important because they're legendary. They are very well known. Let's keep going. The dragons have many animal-like forms such as turtles, fish, and imaginary creatures, but they are most commonly depicted as snake-like with 4 legs. Chinese dragons traditionally symbolize forceful and auspicious or positive and lucky powers, particularly control over water, rainfall, typhoons, and floods. The dragon is also a symbol of power, strength, and good luck for people who are worthy of it. I underlined this sentence too because it helps me better understand why dragons are so important. They're a symbol of power, strength, and good luck. Let's keep going. With this, the Emperor of China usually used the dragon as a symbol of his imperial power and strength. In Chinese daily language, excellent and outstanding people are compared to a dragon, while incapable people with no achievements are compared with other less respectable creatures, such as a worm. A number of Chinese proverbs and idioms or common sayings feature positive references to a dragon. For example, hoping one's son will become a dragon. All right, so I'm going to go back and look at what I underlined, and I'm going to combine those two ideas into my main idea. So get ready to write the main idea. Chinese dragons are important in Chinese mythology and folklore because they symbolize strength, power, and good luck. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for box 2. In box 2 it says, how are dragons depicted in Chinese culture? And I know from my vocabulary words that depicted means described. And so I'm going to go back up to paragraph 1, and I have that second sentence in paragraph 1 that tells me the dragons have many animal-like forms, such as turtles, fish, and imaginary creatures, but they are most commonly depicted as snake-like with 4 legs. I'm going to write that sentence for 2A. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 2B. It says, what is the author trying to communicate when he states, Chinese dragons are legendary creatures? And I know that legendary means like famous or well-known. So I would say in 2B, the author is trying to communicate that dragons are a common and important part of Chinese folk tales. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for box 3. It says, what attributes does Chinese culture attribute to dragons? And that means, what do they believe about dragons? And if I go into my second paragraph, it tells me the different characteristics that Chinese people think dragons have. And in this sentence in the middle in particular, it says, the dragon is also a symbol of power, strength, and good luck. And so I would write down in 3A, Chinese culture views dragons as powerful, lucky, and strong. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for part B. It says, why is the dragon an imperial symbol in China? And I'm going to go back in paragraph 2 to where it talks about how the Chinese emperor used the dragon as a symbol of his imperial power and strength. And so I would write in 3B, because the dragon symbolizes power and strength, the Emperor of China uses it to show that he is also powerful and strong. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for box 4. It says, if someone is compared to a dragon in Chinese culture, is it a compliment? Why or why not? And if I go back in paragraph 3, I know that if someone is excellent and outstanding, they are compared to a dragon. So that would be a compliment. In 4A, I would write, comparing someone to a dragon is a compliment in Chinese culture, because dragons are used to describe someone that is excellent and outstanding. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for part B. It says, if someone is compared to a worm in Chinese culture, is it a compliment? Why or why not? And if I keep reading in this third paragraph, it says, while incapable people with no achievements are compared to other, less respected creatures such as a worm. So I would know being compared to a worm is not a compliment, it's an insult. And I would write down in 4B, comparing someone to a worm is an insult in Chinese culture, because worms are used to describe someone that has not accomplished anything. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the paragraph. It says, why are dragons important in Chinese culture? And in order to answer this question, I would use my main idea. That would be my first sentence. And then I would need a quote from the text that talks about how important they are. And I would use this quote from the second paragraph about how they're a symbol of power, strength, and good luck. And I might even discuss the part in box 4 about how in Chinese culture, people are compared to dragons if they are excellent and outstanding. And then I would say this shows that dragons, how important dragons are in Chinese culture.